and welcome back to another episode of the Choose954 Podcast, episode 107, with legendary color pencil artist Anthony Burks Sr. from his latest solo exhibit here at the Bailey Arts Contemporary Center, otherwise known as BaCa, in downtown Pompano, which also extends across the street to the Pompano Beach Cultural Center. If you didn't know about Choose954, myself, Evan Snow, and my business partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau, started an initiative in the social movement to cultivate culture and community in my native Broward County in an effort to keep people in the know with all the great things that are going on, to make this a better place to live, not just a better place to vacation because we live here. The point of the podcast is to connect you with talented people like him that have done quite a few amazing things, and we're sitting in front of a couple of them. So without much further ado, for those that are not familiar with you, could you share a little bit about yourself, your artistic journey, and kind of how this path has led you here to BaCa?
Yes, my name is Anthony Burks. I have been an artist all my life. Love everything about art. As for my journey, I live in West Palm Beach, Florida. Been there, born and raised, Floridian. And I went to Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, got my degree in in commercial art. My goal was to be a fine artist when I first got out of high school, but things got a little twisted. Mom and dad couldn't afford the school I got accepted in. So that led me to Fort Lauderdale Art Institute, which I got my, degree there for commercial art. And then after that, went back home, lived with my mom for a couple of years, and then from there, got married. Had two beautiful kids. They're both, one lives in New York now and the other one still lives here in Florida. And tried to start my fine art career and found out it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. So I wound up getting a regular job working for a sign company for 20 plus years. And one day they laid me off. And lucky I knew you guys.
Hey.
They was opening up studio spaces for Zero Empty Spaces in West Palm Beach, or Palm Beach Gardens. And I've been there since, been 4 years plus.
How about that?
And as for myself and other things, I have two pieces of art in the Northern Museum in their permanent collection, which that's off my bucket list. Something I want to achieve later on in life, but it happened sooner. I have a business, ATB Fine Artists Group. My wife and I are the co-founders of that. And we do things to help other artists. And we started a nonprofit called No More Starving Artists Foundation, which in that we help artists in Palm Beach County find their way into the art world and give them encouragement. They can be a fine artist full time. And other things, because it's not just fine art, we do other visual and dance and everything else out there.
Including great resources and events and workshops, one of which I would encourage Broward artists or anybody to go up to Brass Tacks.
Yes, Brass Tacks has been beautiful. It's every Wednesday at the Peach off of Georgia Avenue.
In West Palm.
And it's from 7 to 8:30. And it's been growing to the point we were just talking the other day, it might need to get moved to a bigger spot because we're getting too many people coming and trying to find seats. But what it does is it help the artists. We help each other, basically. They put stuff on the board, we talk about it. You come with something that you have an issue with that you figure that maybe we can help you solve, and we sit down and we discuss it.
Business
technique. We do, at the end, we do you can bring your art there, and we'll talk about, help you with your art pieces that you may have a little problem with, or maybe think you're not done, but you probably is. And we just give input on that.
With one of your fellow board members of
Craig
McGinnis,
yes.
Who's a studio artist at the Peach. So if you're an artist that's looking for some support or resources or insight, certainly encourage any artist to look up No More Starving Artists Foundation and attend Brass Tacks when they can on Wednesday evenings. Just go like this real quick and point that mic up. But about your art, which we're here to highlight, which I could talk about forever, what initially drew you to color pencils as your primary medium, and in your own opinion, what makes them unique in capturing your artistic vision?
Well, it came about when I was in high school. We had an art teacher that taught us everything. You know, we did the watercolor and paint and drawing, all these things, and got into the 11th grade. And she said, I have no more for you guys. So we either going to have to do no more art or we have to create a class for you guys. So she created a portfolio class. And she told us all to find a medium that we would love to work with. And I was admired about a young guy that was in the class. Oh my God, what he did with color pencils was crazy. And I'm like, I have to figure this out. So I took the first, I'd say 3 or 4 years just grinding with it until I got into Art Institute and just took it from there. So I literally call myself a master because there's not no more I can do to learn with color pencil. I can do it in my sleep now. You know, I have a blending technique that I use. I normally do like 4 or 5 layers of color. So it's always a base color, and then I come back and blend it with white oil cream, and come back with another base color, and then I keep adding to it. It gives the look of, I call it paint.
Yeah, literally. And how long does that, I mean, these are some larger pieces, but from, you know, beginning conceptualizing the work to completion, how long does it generally take for you to work on a piece?
Wow, it's pretty fast now. I've been doing it for so long now. I always tell people around 30 to 40 hours on a piece. And that's normally a piece that's the size of 30 by 40, because that's my average size that I do work with the color pencil. But I have branched a little bit from the color pencil all the way, because I used to do everything in color pencil. I'm getting older. my fingers told me one day, slow down. So I literally had to find something else I can use with my color pencil. So I started adding the watercolor that you see in the background, and I started using charcoal. So it's a little bit more relaxed on my fingers than just doing the color pencil. So what I always do in the middle is with the color pencil, give the detail. All the detail is always done in color pencil. Interesting.
And it is quite a process to watch. If you would like to see these pieces unfold, you can follow Anthony on his Instagram. At Amp Burks. And he does time lapses where he kind of gives a short mini preview of the process.
Yes.
If you'd like to visit him, he's at our Zero Empty Spaces Palm Beach Gardens location at Legacy Place. And he's there, you know, a couple days a week. You can make
every day,
pretty much.
I was there today.
How about that?
I went early this morning, like 9 o'clock this morning, and finished a piece this morning.
And we've got a ton of talented artists there, but he's arguably the most talented and accomplished, deservedly so. And so you can meet him, yes. Tour his studio, see the process firsthand, and you have a wide range of works. I mean, I had never seen these dresses before. Can you talk about some of the different, beyond just canvas and paper, some of the things that you create on?
I normally use hot pressed watercolor paper. That's my main medium that I use. And found objects, or wood, anything that can take my pencil. If I can sand it to a smooth surface and my pencil is taken, it's gonna get drawn on. But again, I do try to mix it up with something like this series here is this kimono pieces I did. It was actually for a showcase. It's actually happening now that I'm not part of. It was supposed to happen around COVID time. Myself and Barbara Chiefs sat down and said, hey, we need to come up with a project that we can, you know, because she take old kimonos and turn them into pillows and everything. If she could find a way to make something out of the kimonos, because after a while, I didn't notice until she told me that at a certain point they have to retire the kimonos, and normally they throw them away or burn them or something. But she has a partner that lives in Japan that basically gets the kimono. I'm sorry, he lives in Hawaii, and he basically gets the old kimonos and give her share, and they create art with them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that's another option if you want to become an Anthony Burks collector. I think one of the most accessible would be the cigar boxes.
Yes. That came about, I had a friend of mine, she was making purses out of these boxes, but she decided she didn't want to make anymore. So she said, Anthony, I got 7 boxes. I thought she said she had 7 boxes. No, she had 7 boxes of cigar boxes. So I had probably 75 cigarette boxes. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with these things. So I got my sander out. I sand them smooth. I'm like, all right, this is going to work. So I started just doing them color pencil, and they have been a serious hit. I can't keep them. Fast as I make them, they're gone. I would say I've done over 250 cigarette boxes.
Wow.
And I think I got like 10 left. So as fast as I make them, they leave the studio.
And for those that might be interested in collecting and acquiring some work, what does the price point kind of start at for a cigar box versus, a finished frame piece?
The crazy part with the cigar boxes, when I first started making them, I didn't know what to price them at because they were small, and my wife, Miss Trina Burks, she's the business partner, and she's like, Anthony, you got to keep this affordable. So you got a time limit. You got 2 hours to knock out the box. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So I literally would spend no more than 2 hours on a box. And she will remind me, because I do my time lapse or whatever, and she's watching me. She'll text me, all right, I've been watching you. It's 2 hours almost up, and I literally have to stop. And what I do with my art, once I finish, I sign them. Once I sign them, I can't touch them anymore. So that's my signature of stopping. But the boxes went from, I was selling for like $75. It's been now 8 years. They're now between 200 to 400, depends on what I put on it now. So basically, if I put my tree series on there, those goes for like 400. But my animals or all the subjects I put on them, 200. But I tell people all the time, come to my treasure chest, which is my studio. That way we can negotiate something. Or I try to keep everybody in some way to afford my art. So the boxes are those. So you can come to me and say, Anthony, I got this amount of money. Can we work with something? Sure, we can. It's my gift bag. I have my trees that I do that's by themselves. And those are I told those are going to be my legacy one day. Because I've been doing them for, 20 years now. And most of them I have given away. One thing I try to do, especially with kids, to help them now realize that they can be collectors. So what I do is give them a choice of color. And ask their parents first, can I give them a piece of art? And when they say yes, I give them a piece of art, and I tell them, you are now a collector. You own an Anthony Burks original. So hopefully one day you will pop up there. I will see more of your collection on top of what you received from me that day. And then I have October, I do breast cancer month. I give away my pink trees, or you can walk into my studio, or even text me that you live in another country. As long as you pay for shipping, you have a tree. I don't ask you any questions about it, what you're going to do with it, who's getting it. I'm hoping that you're going to be honest enough to get a tree to someone that's going to need it, not that you're just collecting an Anthony Burks piece. And that's been going on, I think, for the last 5 years. And that came about, I had an incident with since we're talking about prices and collecting, I had a gentleman that was following me on Facebook, older gentleman, and every time I finish a piece, he would like it, and oh my God, I'm gonna own this, da 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 da. I want to say about 6 months went along, and he never bought anything, but he always said he's gonna buy something. So he reached out to me on Facebook, can he give me a call? So I was kind of hesitant to give him a call, or have him call me. So Trina let him call you. And he called me and he told me his story. He was battling cancer at the time. And my work is keeping him alive. Whew. And I felt so horrible that this guy, I really, because again, this is my business. So, sometimes we treat it a little differently than we should. Our art, I should say, when it comes to the business end. So we talked for a little while, and he finally said, I'm going to buy a piece from you now. I had to downsize to a smaller place, but he said, your work is just bringing me joy. So I'm going to buy a piece, to the point that I didn't want to give him a piece. I didn't want to sell it to him.
Right.
But he said, no, I said I was going to buy something for you. And a week passed away, no answer from him again. he went quiet. Then I went to his Facebook page and found out he passed away. So he never had the chance to get this piece of art. And I never really had the chance to learn his name because we only spoke once. And so I honored in October for him. And for 31 days, I think it is, I give away a tree. I give away trees. So I just do a bunch of trees, and you can come into the studio and buy a tree. Get a tree without any questions asked. But I do ask you, please give it to someone if they need support and help just to get along every day and have something they can look at and be inspired to keep living.
Amen.
So those are my free stuff. Now my big stuff. On an average, my pieces are now going between 3,500 to 20,000, depending on the size and the medium that I use and the series that I've done for the series. In this showcase here, I think on the average, the pieces are ranging from 3,500 to 15,000 here at the space.
And as our friend and No More Starving Artists board member Scott Jeffries likes to say, yesterday's prices might not be there tomorrow. So,
yeah. For you say that, again, I don't do all color pencils anymore, or in my cigar boxes. I do have a few pieces I had when I was younger that, literally 22 by 30, all color pencils from the top to bottom. Those pieces are now priceless. Every year they go up $10,000 more. So I have a few pieces in my collection right now. They are at like 75,000. And I won't take nothing less. And that's not a poke at anyone for not buying Anthony Burks sooner. It's more in the sense of that just shows my growth.
correct.
And these pieces was, at the time, I was selling for like $800. And no one took me serious. So I did have a moment, I think it was about 6 years ago, that one of our lawyer friends wanted to buy one of the pieces. I think I had it at $10,000. And he's like, will you take $9,099? And I said, nope, $10,000. He said, you won't take nothing less than that? I said, no. And I said, what you just said, well, my words are, you either can't afford me now or can't afford me later. Because I am not looking back, waiting for you to make a decision that you take me, serious.
Correct. And I don't want to say the proof is in the pudding, but the price is justified in terms of length of your career, the progression, the investment you've made into your craft. You are the only living artist that I personally and professionally know from Zero Empty Spaces and everything that we've done that is in a museum and a legitimate Norton, top museum in West Palm. So, you are getting an opportunity to own a piece of history while the artist is still alive.
Yes.
And certainly encourage you to, have a conversation, come for a studio visit, come see the show. Speaking of the show here, the title of this exhibition is The Four Corners of My Mind, which I thought was pretty intriguing, being into mindfulness. What does it represent and how does it reflect your artistic process?
Because I never stayed in one corner. I have many different series of art throughout my career, throughout my life, because it's life experience for me. Or whereas I get bored. I can't repeat the same things over and over. So with my trees, they're starting to get a little, popular now. So I have to continue them. But I would do a tree piece and then I will bounce over to something else. Like if you come here to see this showcase, I have the show across the street as well. And it's a whole nother world than you see here. Whole nother world in here. So I used the Four Corners of My Mind for years. It's always been I always wanted to create a coffee table book. And that's the title of the book. And I'm going to do it at some point. I'm getting there. But it's again, I can't stay in one corner for a minute. I have to always reinvent myself. Always got to find a way to represent who I am. And one thing about my art is that I always tell people that when you see Anthony Burks, you know it's Anthony Burks. I don't duplicate anyone else's style or duplicate anyone else's thoughts. It's all comes from me, and it's always come from me. I dream it. I can see it right now. I'm trying not to and focus on something. And before I know it, I'm creating some art from like the papers that's on the floor there. It'll catch my eye. Here I am trying to figure what I can make out of it. So it's just, I always say we never use all our mind or our brain. I mean, I am really an artist by life because everything evolved around art with me. Everything I do in everyday life is about art. I'm part of so many art groups and so many committees for the community to try to drive that same energy into the community because I think it's lacking, especially here in Florida. Florida is a little behind the eight ball on art. And I don't blame anyone in general, as again, this is a tourist area.
Correct.
So the culture is not here.
Correct.
The cultures are every other places that these people are coming from, but it's not built here because we're too busy trying to cater them. And the workforce here is the same way. So they don't understand, the locals don't really understand the value of an artist and what we live for in prices. Because again, here I sell less than I do anywhere else in the world, which is sad in its own right. But again, my wife and I are here for a different purpose, I think.
Correct.
We are here to educate the new artists coming up and the old artists to understand you can survive as an artist. It took me to lose my job, getting laid off, to realize it myself, because I was stuck in that trap as well, that, oh my God, I can't do my art because I won't be able to feed myself. I can say it's been, my wife and I, I get the numbers wrong, she gets them right. I think I'll be at 14 years now, I've been out of my job. I've been a full-time artist for 14 years, I'm gonna say. I always say 16, but she said, no, Anthony, you're jumping too fast. But I've been a full-time artist for that many years right now, and I can't tell you it's easy. I can't tell you that every day I wake up that I'm thinking about, mortgage is due next month, studio is due next month, or this month, 2 days. And it don't bug me, but one thing I can say, by me putting in the work, by me doing what I do, by me, I had to become a true hustler, not letting the opportunity pass me that I'm comfortable with, because I don't do anything for anyone. Everything that I do create is coming from me first. I do listen, and I do, if things are really in a bad situation that I know that I'm gonna get that look from the wife, like, the people's gotta get paid, Anthony. Can you say yes to this one? And I weigh it out and I do what I need to do, but it's always me first when it comes to my art.
And it shows you're, in a very authentic and genuine way. And we'll take the camera, we'll show them some more of the works beyond this, but your artistic genius, your life story, the places you've been, all the work you've seen on your own visits, on your own museum tours, has contributed to what you're putting out into the world today at such a high level because you have taken the time to perfect your craft technique-wise, and really hone that craft and also share it with others through the No More Serving Artists Foundation and Brass Tacks and all the things that you've done. So with that being said, we can look at these works and they're beautiful aesthetically, very visually appealing. But what do you hope that the audiences take away from interacting and experience with your work in this show?
What is the crazy part is that they kind of labeled these all wrong. They didn't put they put the title of the piece without the series on it. Or it's like the rooted ground, like I should say Cry Freedom. Cry Freedom is rooted ground, Cry Freedom. Bam, boom. But
let's show them actually.
Yeah. This series is called Rooted Ground, Cry Freedom. As I was saying earlier, that they didn't put the Rooted Ground on here, which I was kind of like, can y'all please change it? But now, as we did the opening, people came up to me wanting to know a little bit more about the pieces because they didn't really know why the title was, just an animal name or of that nature. So it created a dialogue for the audience that came in that day. But the story itself with this series called Cry Freedom is the tree is the main focus of everything, and the animal is secondary. The tree is keeping the history and the story of the last thing that was underneath it at some point.
Wow.
So it is the storyteller, it is the gatekeeper, it is the circle of life for these animals. And the reason why they are upside down, because it's a whole series of these. I think about 8 to 10 pieces so far for the series for Cry Freedom. And these animals are crying for help. And no one's hearing them. They think no one's hearing them, but the tree is. The tree is literally letting them know that it's going to be all right. And as for this here, it was almost like I was given this is season here, except for this tree here, it's going to leave one day, or where it's on his last little hump, so it's not as many roots as going to it. But I did hear the other day, I learned everything too on trees, is that the big trees out there, they literally connect with each other, whereas
Correct.
their roots don't grow always down, they grow left and right, and they meet up with other trees. So they're helping these trees survive each other. You know, when one of them's going through something like the big fires that happened in California, the trees are still there. You know, they're, look like they've been burnt, but at some point they're going to reroot. They are going to keep going. So I always say the trees are, they are the scientists. They are the everything, because they were to survive years and years and years, hundreds of
Generations.
years. Yes. And everything else fall off to the wayside, but they don't go anywhere. And if they start, they always can, a seed going to drop somewhere and then keep the history going. So the story behind these pieces is my story. The Cry Freedom part is my cry. I have the animals there to capture your attention, so I can tell you my story about why I created these pieces. And I always throw at the end that I am these animals. We are these animals. And once they are gone, who's next? Only thing gonna be here is the trees.
That's right.
So we keep on going the way we're going. These beautiful animals is leaving this earth really fast and quick, because we decided to have a house or a golf course built. After a while, they're gonna have nowhere to go. And once they're gone, who knows what's next? The insects will take over. But that's the name of the series, Cry Freedom, Baboon. Again, I've done quite a few different animals, and I have done myself as one. That piece, I didn't have it very long. It sold right away to the same lawyer I was telling you about that wanted the other piece. He bought that piece that day. So again, I'm really telling my story here. This is where I'm going. Times are really tough being a black male, and really tough being a black artist.
Correct.
So instead of me showing anger or showing, the side that you shouldn't see, I put it in my art.
Well, and this is serendipitous timing, because as we kick off Black History Month, do you see this exhibition as a way of celebrating or preserving aspects of African American culture?
Can I be honest with you?
Please.
I hate February as a black man. We're 665 days a day. We're not a month.
Right.
And we should be celebrated every day.
That's right.
In a few times I have turned down a lot of gigs in February, and I basically have told them, I'm available in September, I'm available in October. Why don't you give me a call then? Because right now I'm booked to the mountains. So personally, we getting just a month is not enough to celebrate. And we need to be recognized differently in just a month. So that's my point of view. But it does give opportunities for me that I normally wouldn't get throughout the year.
Sure.
To get art gigs. Again, I'm asked all the time to do a showcase or do another venue. One thing I can say here in Fort Lauderdale, you guys bless us. I have not been asked to do a showcase without getting some compensation from it.
Right.
I can't say that I get that in West Palm Beach or Palm Beach County. I'm hoping they can hear this too, because again, some reason they think that we just do this for fun. This is my career. This is my life. This is where I eat. And for you to ask me to come out and do live art or do these different things for free, you don't ask the bartender to do that. You don't ask the DJ to do that.
That's right.
And you sure don't ask the hall that you got that to do the showcase in. They all get paid. So why are you asking me as an artist to come out and perform for you? And at the end of the day, you just say, you did a great job. Can I have the piece?
Right.
So again, I give kudos to Fort Lauderdale. They do hear us.
Broward County.
Broward County, yes.
Because we're in Pompano.
Pompano.
And just for the record, too, thankfully, this exhibit did start in January and does run to March. So it wasn't just for February. We happen to be on the brink of February tomorrow. But I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I did want to ask you, from your experience growing up in West Palm Beach, in Palm Beach County, Florida, how has your own personal history and cultural background influenced your artistic expression?
Nothing. I got asked once, because I do all these different animals, why do I not do Florida animals? And I didn't really, when I do my art, I don't think that way as what I'm creating for what city or what, place I'm at. So I asked the person who asked me, can you please tell me what West Palm Beach, or I said Florida, have done for me as an artist that I need to create Florida? And put it this way, by the end, she was shedding tears because she's like, I'm really sorry to ask you that, not knowing what your responses are going to be. But one thing that's an artist, and one thing about me, once you plant something in my head as an artist, it's going to get developed some form of action. So I created a series that this piece is.
Want to walk over there?
Lead right up to it. This scrub jay is endangered species of Florida. So when I got through that conversation with her, I went and did my research. I went and checked what animals are endangered here in Florida. So the funny part is a few animals I have created in the past are Florida animals, but I didn't create them for that point. So I created a showcase featuring endangered species of Florida and endangered landscapes of Florida and flowers of Florida. So it was four artists in total that I curated with my wife Trina. And I did 9 animals and 1 of me. Back to me again, because again, the whole conversation was based off of me. And the piece is called Identity Crisis. And that piece is one of the pieces I said, that actually was the piece I would tell you what the lawyer wanted. That piece is now like $75,000 now. And what it is that I did this bald eagle and I did this lion stretching out with my hands with the flag representing the United States and the flag colors representing Africa. And I had my bike turned. And basically that's what's the whole thing, was the identity crisis, because I don't know where I really belong. Do I belong here? Do I belong in Africa? Where do we belong? We've been shipped everywhere around the world and taken away from where we supposed to be at. So right now today, where do I supposed to be at? So that was the whole thing with her, is that I had no identity because, again, the culture here is very tough. So people don't understand the value of me and why I do what I do. So even though she didn't get what she really wanted out of me at that time, but she did get a series out of me. So I did 10 pieces representing endangered species of Florida, and I was one of them.
Well, I'm glad that we have had this opportunity to share more about you and your work, because most people only ever see the finished product online in the gallery, in the show or something like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe they go to the studio and they see it in process, but you're actually gonna have a special opportunity coming up here to hear from you as part of this exhibit. Can you tell the community what they can expect to hear and be a part of on February 6th? You're
gonna get the raw Anthony.
In a form of an artist talk.
In a form of an artist talk, yes. But it's gonna still be raw. I'm blunt, honest. I don't want no one to walk out of a space assuming that I am something that I'm not. As for an artist, I am an artist. Nothing's ever going to change that. I'm not going to quit doing this here. Again, it's a tough game to be in. And I call it a game because basically in the art world, it's a game. Art is an artist. We're gonna do what we do, but in the game of the art is who you know. It's not how good you are, or
Right.
who you know. It's who saw you, who recognized you, who developed this thing to buy your art, and from there things can take off in a good way. But I have found over the years is that you gotta be careful what you ask for, because you get to a point that you get controlled by that person that found you.
Right.
You got to create what they asked you to create their way, and you lose that ability of yourself. I tell you, you don't sell your soul. Keep who you are. So at the talk, that's what you're gonna get from me. I don't know what the question is, or what they're gonna ask me question-wise. I told them I don't even want to know. But I'm gonna be as real as I possibly can. And my goal is always, I hope I have a few artists there. I want to let them know, look, don't let no one tell you that you can't do this. Don't let no one put that into your ear. In other words, don't let no one tell you you're a starving artist. Because you're not. Again, in this game, a hustle is still a hustle. You put the work and time into, you'll make something out of it. But stay in your lane. Create for you first.
I'm glad that you mentioned, up and coming and emerging artists. I'd like to show them a little bit more of your work and maybe ask for some advice for emerging artists.
Okay.
So what advice would you give to emerging artists, especially those interested in exploring color pencil as a medium?
Well, for color pencil, I tell you, I like color pencil because it's nothing to clean up. When I'm ready to stop and move on to something else, it's quick and easy. But with color pencil, you can get a lot of depth in color that you can't sometimes, to me, get with paint. And on top of that, you can make it look like paint. You can mix it with different other chemicals to spread it thinner or make it bolder. They have watercolor color pencils now, which I personally don't use. I like to do my own blending. I like to do my own thing with the pencils. So to me, that's just another way. I won't use the word cheating, but that's another form that basically I feel that I always tell artists in general, be yourself. Don't take shortcuts. If you don't know how to draw, take some drawing lessons. If you don't know how to paint, take some painting lessons. There's nothing wrong with it. You're still an artist. You just need to develop your techniques and stuff. So I recommend any young person, any older person out there just started in the art world, go take those lessons. There's many, many different ways you can do it. You can do it on YouTube. You can do it in person privately, or you can do it with group classes. But go learn something. I think the problem of today, technology is taking over. Artists are not learning the techniques anymore. They're doing the shortcut. They know they can do a bossy out moment and think they can be on top of the world. The word I use to them all the time, let them marinate. Treat it like that grandma soup that's getting made. You need to let it sit and simmer for a little while.
Right.
So give you some time to grow. Don't go out there thinking that you're going to become this famous artist overnight. It doesn't happen. It's like being a football player. You can be the best in the world, but if you ain't in the right place at the right time, chances you could miss out on opportunity to get to the level you think you deserve to be at. But take the criticism too. In other words, you're going to have people criticize something. Take what you can out of it. In other words, don't take the negative out of it. Take the point of what can I do to achieve it? What can I do to develop me? Create a body of work. In other words, put together some series. Don't just do a one-off and repeat it 1,000 times. No, create a few different series. Get into the art creativity of your brain, because if you're an artist, if you're a true artist, it's in there. You just got to crack the code. And once you crack the code and become you, then that's all you need. The last thing I think that you need to show your work. In other words, you need to get it out there. Do shows. Any opportunity you have the chance to do a show, do it. Join some art leagues. That's here in Palm Beach County. I don't know much about Fort Lauderdale, Broward. But Palm Beach County, we got about 4 major art leagues in our area that I always tell the artists to join. You got one meeting a month. They do shows. They give you opportunities to have some places to go with your artwork. And again, that's the only way you're going to learn, especially as a fine artist, where you are in your art career. If anyone taking you serious,
right.
You know, and if you don't do these things, if you just got your work in your little corner, being quiet and whatever, you can't complain about it because you're not doing enough to make it grow. One of the things I do at our studio spaces, I'm always hitting the artists in the belly. If I see one of them not working, been working on the same piece where I walk in and say, "You still working on that piece, huh? Okay. You're going to start another one." You know, I really try to poke them a little bit because I'm one of those artists. I literally follow the rules of I create a piece, these 2 pieces a week on an average. And I'm not talking about something this big. I do my trees when I need something to do. I do a cigar box, or I'll be working on 2 larger pieces. So as an artist, only way you're gonna make it in this art world, you gotta be out in the world for people to know who you are and see you. And you got to create a body of work that people can take you serious with.
And it is a game, as you alluded to, and you do have to play the game. And part of playing the game is showing up. And I'll share a quick snippet from one of our last podcast guests, Candy Lopez, who's arguably probably the most successful artist in Broward County at the moment. She told the story on the podcast of the way that she got her current representation with ACA Galleries out in New York was during Art Basel a couple years ago. She had opportunity to do a couple exhibits, one of which she said, you know, transparently, she wasn't the most excited about. She felt it might have been a better opportunity for somebody else if it was, you know, potentially beneath her or, you know, where she's been in her career. But from doing that exhibit, in part as a favor to the producer, somebody came in, an art agent that connected her with the gallery representation she has now, and her whole entire life changed because she did something, she showed up, you know, she said yes, and I liken it to playing a game as well. And you have to play the game to win, you know, or playing like a game of cards. You can't win by folding. Mm-mm. You do have to show up, and you do have to be in the game. So if somebody would like to learn from you, are you still offering classes, workshops, you know, teaching?
I do private lessons, or was most of my students are kids. I do have a few adults that comes and take lessons from me. I have two students right now that both of them are in high school right now. One of them is trying to get into one of the big schools in New York right now. So I'm helping her work on her portfolio. Another young lady, she just wanted to take some classes. She just wanted to learn. So I do private lessons at my studio over in Palm Beach Gardens. I'm there again. We can sit down and talk about a time because I'm there. I tell people all the time I'm there every day. So if any day is open to do a session of sort. I do occasionally do color pencil classes, or words, I do group class. And I haven't done one this year yet. So probably in the next couple of months, I'll probably set one up so you can come in and learn the basic drawing and basic color pencil.
Let's show them a couple more pieces if you wouldn't mind stepping over here, and then we'll wrap this up here. If they do want to find out more and engage with you, social media and the interwebs, where can they find you online?
Ant Burks. Otherwise, I'm on all my social media platforms. That's my my hashtag. AMP. AMP.
BURKS.
BURKS. But I'm on all of them, from Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. It's where every piece that I pretty much create is on Pinterest.
Nice.
So opportunity to see, if you want to see the body of my work, Pinterest is the place to go.
And it helps with the SEO and it helps get it out there.
Yes. And AnthonyBurksCollection.com. That's my website. You can go there. On my website, I keep it very light because, again, that's for my collectors and my interior decorators. They don't like to see a bunch of work. They want to see series. So I'll put 3 or 4 pieces of my series on my website. So, which that changes on the regular.
So February the 6th, at what time?
From 6 to 8.
6 to 8, and it's going to be at the Cultural Center across the
Center.
street on Atlantic Boulevard, right here in downtown Pompano, just east of I-95. A beautiful building, beautiful architecture. They've done a beautiful job here with Pompano Beach Arts and the Community Redevelopment Agency. This is an absolutely beautiful gallery space, and also, once again, giving credit where credit's due. I'm glad you mentioned that. Pompano Beach Arts, supports the arts by paying the artists for the exhibit. It takes a lot of work, not just to create the work, but rent a van, package it, come, hang, install it, frame it.
Yes.
There's a lot that goes into it. So we certainly appreciate the people that support the arts and put their money where their mouth is. I know you also had a great opportunity with Business for the Arts of Broward.
Yes, that's how I got here. They came, did a field trip. The director here did a field trip there, and they saw my work, and they said, "Oh my God, he needs to not take these home with him. He needs to keep it coming." So they invited me here to.
And once again, another testament of playing the game by showing up. Because I remember last year, just about a year ago this week, we went to Business for the Arts of Broward, which is BFA Broward, had Candy Lopez's artist talk, showed up, make yourself known, network, build a name, build a rapport outside of your hometown and home county. And it's a long game. So that opportunity might not come tomorrow, it might not come the next day, but if you're consistent, if you put in the work, and it can show that you have put in the work, then, good things can and will come in form of opportunities. And I've seen you also give opportunities to other artists. I'll say Scott Jeffries, for example, and from his early exhibition opportunities, whoever would have known where he would take his art career.
Oh man, Scott Jeffrey, that's a whole book by itself. That man he has played the game very well.
Yes.
Very, very well. He's doing very well. He actually have a showcase coming up in West Palm. What's the date for that? February 20th. He's going to be at the Frame Makers on County Road in Palm Beach. So again, if you can have a chance to check him out, dude. I mean, one thing I love about Scott Jeffrey, he calls us his mentors, Trina and I. So he's always constantly, "Hey, what do you think about this and what about that?" And we try our best to give him, much feedback as we possibly can, and feel honored that someone takes the time out, because we must be doing it right, that they're calling us.
Yeah.
Again, he's doing very well. So he don't need to call me, but he does, just to make sure that, he's on the right track.
Yeah, and if you want to hear his story, he was on the podcast and spoke at Creative Zen, did not have a clear path, and it was not easy for him, and overcame a lot of things to become one of the rising stars in art in Palm Beach County. And it really is just, once again, and I'm really glad that you mentioned it, because it's something that we preach. Maybe it's taken for granted. Maybe people don't understand or appreciate so much. Nobody woke up and was a blue chip artist.
No.
Basquiat, Picasso, Purvis Young. No, it didn't just happen. You have to put in the work. There is no substitute for putting in the work. And this is 40 years of work, to the point that, rightfully so, the Norton Museum collects, also rightfully so, became a fellow of the Palm Beach Cultural Council, which is one of the highest designations and honors for any artist in Palm Beach County. And they don't just hand those out lightly, deservedly so. So if you do have an opportunity, I would highly encourage you to come on February the 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Pompano Beach Cultural Center here in downtown Pompano. This exhibit's running until March 21st here at the BaCa. You can visit Anthony at his Zero Empty Spaces studio up in Palm Beach Gardens and Legacy Place, which is arguably one of the nicest art studios you'll find in a former Woodhouse Day Spa with 20 artists. And stay tuned for more great stuff between No More Starving Artists Foundation, between other exhibitions and opportunities. Once again, yesterday's prices very well might not be there tomorrow, so we encourage you to collect today. And we probably got to get you one day to come speak at Creative Zen and share your full story. Okay. And we'll keep doing this. So appreciate you tuning in, and hope to see you here at the BaCa. And in Pompano, first Fridays of the month is Old Town Untapped, which is their cultural block party celebration of the arts, aka their mini art walk. You know, they shut down the street. They do a really nice job. Live music. They're really big on the live music. They have a backyard jam behind BaCa in this area that they're renovating here. Really big on supporting musicians here. And also at the Cultural Center, amazing performance art, comedy. During the holidays, I went to an Edgar Allan Poe haunted house exhibit or experience, really, where we walked through and they had people reciting his poems, and it was
cool.
It was actually pretty cool. So it is happening here in Pompano. I never would have imagined growing up right over there in Coral Springs that, you know, I'd be coming here for art. But you know, it's a really cool place, a lot of history, a lot of culture, a lot of progress. So I hope to see you here in Pompano and supporting this young man's art. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
All right, guys.
Good job. Perfect.